Hello, how are you guys? Like for real, how are you? Hmm. I really wanted to make this video today because I have come to understand that I'm not the only one. There are just way too many of us who have reached points in their life when we realized that the years that we're living right now were not a part of our mental map of our life for so long. That means that we only saw our life up till a certain point. We didn't plan for anything after that because, for whatever reason, we didn't think we would be here. Or we just thought, for whatever reason, all possibilities would end after a certain point. And so we tried to live as much as we can, in whatever way we can, up until a certain point. And then when we found ourselves still existing post that point, it was just silence, confusion, being lost. And that's what happened to me. I never planned for my 30s. I never saw myself being in my 30s. I suppose very early on, I knew that whatever I need to do it soon in life. Even though I had no motivation to do it, I had no real support emotionally to do it. I didn't have the emotional capacity because of the way I grew up. I felt like I had already spent all of my emotional capacity on those around me, um, on trying to keep peace, on trying to not disappoint, do the right thing. And by the time I reached the point in my life where I said that, okay, now I need to start living the life that I want, or these vague ideas that I had of a career and things like that, I felt that I felt like, honestly, I feel like I didn't plan after my early 20s. I genuinely remember having phases in my teenage years where I wouldn't even comb my hair because I thought, well, what's the point? Who's looking at me? How does it even matter? Why am I even here? What is the point of all this? In retrospect, now I realize I was really unwell, but I know so many of us go through this. So many of us. Our main aim in life is to get through the day and not to have some big achievements or anything that just seems so far-fetched sometimes, especially when you realize these things when you're that young. It's all just too much to process, too much to handle. And honestly, it was scary. Now that I look back, I'm 33 now, and I realize that I have no idea what I'm doing because I never thought I would be here. I never thought I would be here. And I didn't even think of it in so many words. When I thought of a life post 30, I just saw darkness. Very honestly, this is how I saw it. And I didn't question it. I didn't question it. I knew that this is it. This is all I know of life. I didn't want anything after that. I don't know why. Maybe it was because 30s for me, when I looked at my parents, they were struggling. It was a time in their life when they were working hard, and there wasn't much happiness, I suppose, around at the time. And I, being an only child, not seeing much of the outside world, began to associate my 30s with just nothingness, a plateau, um, just something that you endure, not something that you live. And so, and also the fact that I was dealing with so many issues growing up, mentally, environmentally. I feel that in a way I disconnected long before I reached my 30s. I was off. I was not interested in the world. I was not interested in anything. And I did achieve what I wanted to in my early 20s, but I couldn't sustain it. I was so burnt out. I was so burnt out emotionally that I would wait for things to fall through. I would wait for things to not work out so I could go back to doing nothing and go back to hiding. And so the rest of my 20s were just me hiding from the world, me feeling like I have accomplished nothing, me feeling inferior to those around me. At the same time, struggling to hold on because I knew I couldn't let go. I would think about my family and what it would do to them, and I would think that I, in any case, haven't achieved anything great. Now, if I do this to them, I will be the worst mistake that they have ever made, and I didn't want to do that. You still have the urge to protect those you love, even though you're barely capable of protecting yourself, and you really don't care about yourself at all. So, somewhere in my late 20s, I believe, I started to look at things that promised some sort of an outcome, some sort of a positive outcome. Things like self help, manifestation. And when I say I frustrated myself with those things so much because I didn't know how to do it, but I was still trying to do it, it just made things worse at the time. But some weird, I think, when you're hanging on by a thread, any little ray of hope seems like, okay, let's try it. Let me see, let's try, let's see where it goes, right? So I held on. I held on in the frustration, in the darkness, in the, I don't know what. Honestly, I don't know what, but you know what I'm talking about. You guys know. We're all the same, I suppose, if you're here. And somewhere along the line, feeling like a fool sometimes when you do this stuff, because you're like, I feel like a clown. What am I even trying to do? What am I trying to manifest? What am I trying to heal from? There is nothing to heal. This is just who I am. The pain is who I am. The confusion is who I am. So what's the big deal? What am I trying to do? Those questions come up. But for some reason, I think there was nothing else to hold on to, so I did hold on to it. And I found myself letting go of the idea that I have nothing, right? Because when you grow up in an environment that does not allow you to develop, it does not give you the tools to develop a personality, it does not give you this sort of guidance to become somebody who can face the world. You kind of have to do it yourself. And when you do it yourself, like me, you just pick on things like random things and sort of claim them as your own. You become somebody who's very gullible, a people pleaser. So you don't really have any opinions. You're just agreeing with people. You're just looking at something that seems popular, it seems acceptable, and you're like, fine, I'll do that. And then you realize once you grow up that I don't even know what I believe in. I don't even know what I want. I don't even know who I am. And I went through this phase a couple of years ago where I was so aware of the fact that I'm just an empty vessel. And I remember I would write poetry, and so much of my poetry would be about, trying to, this whole manifestation, self-help thing that I used to do, trying to find myself. And my biggest fear was that I would unravel all these layers of myself only to find in the deepest depths of my soul a skeleton of the person who could have been something but suffocated under the weight of the world, and they're dead, they're long gone, there's nobody there. I'm empty, there's no real self, there's nothing. And I was so scared of that. I was so scared of finding out that I haven't become anything, and I will always not be anything. I will always not have opinions. I will always be gullible and play into people's ways. And I'm just an insignificant nobody who was brought into this world for God knows what. I was so terrified of that. But I still tried until I reached a point where I realized that, and this was only recently, and I realized that it's okay. It's okay that there's nobody in there. Maybe that's a good thing, because now I have all this empty space to become whatever the hell I want to. I can put whatever beliefs I want in there. I can put whatever thoughts I want in there. I can become anybody. So in my self-improvement journey, I don't have to move a past version out of the way and then move ahead. I can just build. I have the space to build. I don't know if that makes sense, but this is how I came to see it. That it's good if there's nothing in there, because now you have this huge playground and you can put anything on it, right? So, honestly, I I'm still on this journey of trying to put little pieces together. It's like I have this home that's empty and I'm trying to put little things in there that mean something to me, that make me happy, and trying to decorate this home inside. And hopefully one day I can go live in there and operate out of there. For now, I continue to find things that interest me. Find Sometimes I don't have the will to do it, and that is true. And I know you guys relate to it as well. Sometimes the world still doesn't make sense, but it's okay. It's genuinely okay. I don't mind. I don't mind going through those days anymore. I don't mind feeling like I don't want to be here anymore. It's okay. It's completely fine. I know it'll pass. Nothing stays constant. But I know that with my my efforts right now that I'm putting into myself, I know at some point the good will outweigh the bad, for the reason that I will not get swept away by the bad or by the not so good, right? There's a faint ray of expectation or hope, I don't know what you can call it. That's where I'm at. And I really just wanted to talk to you guys about it, I guess. Because these are not things that you can just walk up to people in your life and start talking about. They'll be like, what is wrong with you? Because for most of us, I feel our struggles don't show. We look very normal to people. And if people would know, if we would actually start telling them what we've been through, they'd be like, what rubbish, you don't look like you've been through anything like that. Yeah, we don't. Because I suppose there was a certain dignity and a certain grace that we handle that stuff with. I don't know why. I don't have the answer to that, but that's how we are. That's what we did, and so it doesn't show. But this is the only way I felt I could talk to somebody who gets it, and maybe this is a little confirmation for you as well. That, I mean, what you're doing, the fact that you're moving forward is working, and doesn't have to look like anybody else's. It doesn't have to end up like anybody else's story. Whatever it is, it's yours. Whatever I have is mine, and we can learn to identify with that and not look for validation and not look for acceptance, because honestly, the world doesn't give you that. If you feel like the world is accepting you, it's a lie. The world doesn't accept anybody, it doesn't accept anything. Everybody's just trying to be versions of each other. So I think we're in a good place. We thought that we're empty inside, but we're actually free to build whatever we want in there. And everybody else probably would take a little longer. It's just that we've been doing the work our whole life, so we're good at it, pretty much. Now, there's no need to run from things that don't make you feel good. Understand that they'll pass. Understand that it's okay to sit in silence, sit in grief for the moments that we lost, and then pick up from there and make the most of moments available to us, I suppose. I don't know what the point of this was. But yeah, it feels nice to be speaking to you guys. People who relate, people who know what it's like. Yeah, maybe I'll come back and we'll go more in depth into this, and we'll be able to learn from each other. Because honestly, there's no blueprint to these things that we go through. So we're obviously like on the other side of the window pane when it comes to the world. We're always like looking at the world from the outside. So it's tough to take motivation or to take any direction from the world, because they're going somewhere else and we're going somewhere else. We often find ourselves lost in the chaos of the world. It seems pointless because that's not our story. We didn't start the same way as them, so we can't go the same way as them. We have to make our own story, and maybe that's a good thing. And maybe one day we'll realize that. Maybe that day could be today. I don't know. Anyway, I'll see you next time. And until then, I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for listening. I love you.